Today we want to take a look at the Edit Paths by Nodes tool. It's a really powerful tool in Inkscape, and so I thought we would recreate the kind of the splash effect that existed in the old VexStrips software, and so we'll make our own version of it for our bit clone purposes, and then when I'm done I'll upload this to openclipart.org, and you can download it and use it, or you can make your own, because I intend to show you how to do that. So just for the sake of exploring some of the tools we talked about before, we'll go ahead and use the standard square tool. I've already set up the stroke on it and the fill color so that it looks like a nice watercolor. And remember, you create a shape, and then you can use these control handles to adjust the roundness. These little dots will give you a lot of versatility in creating quote-unquote a rectangle, but you can use those tools to make rounded corners and stuff. So once we've created that using our square tool or our rectangle tool, then we'll go up to our select and transform tool, and then you'll get the control handles that you're used to seeing for scaling and things of that nature. Then once you have it selected, we want to go to path, and we want to take that rectangle object and convert it to a path. So that will give us control nodes that you see here. These little gray squares along the path will then give us control. So you can automatically see, once you grab hold of those, you can start already getting more organic shapes and start working towards that splash shape. I'm going to adjust the stroke here real quick just because that's a little thick. I'm going to make that from 5 to about a 3. There we go. That'll be a little easier to work with and see what we're doing. But like I said, I've already kind of made it so that it sort of resembles that water. I've added some transparency to the object itself, made it about, I don't know, just 68%, just so you can see through it. So again, if you wanted to use it for water effects in a comic or a composition, it's easy to do that. So let's go to the Edit Paths by Node tool. I also call it a direct selection tool. That's an old habit from when I used to use Adobe Illustrator, but it's a similar type tool that lets you edit these individual points, things like that. So what you see here is you have a node on the path, and one of them is controllable for making a curve, and then there's no control handle on this straight line between these two nodes. So what we want to do is go up here to the Make Selected Node Smooth tool, and that will allow you, it'll give you another control handle here, and that will allow you to start really working towards making those organic shapes. So we're going to hit all of these control nodes with that tool, just so we can work quickly and make a really nice organic splashy shape. There's a lot of power in these tools as well. You can do you can make those symmetrical. So like, let's take a look at this one, for instance. So right now we have a very short control handle here and a very long one here. If we wanted to make that a symmetrical control handle, you use this tool, and see how it automatically made those handles the same length, and then as you adjust them, they stay the same length and adjust in both directions depending on how far you pull that handle out. So then you can go back and adjust that and make it smooth again, the selected node smooth, and then you can adjust just a single side. So there's lots of powerful adjustments that you can do to almost any tool in Inkscape, and you can really drill down deep on a lot of this stuff and really do a lot of crazy stuff, advanced stuff, and get really intricate with the designs you make. But right now I'm just going to try to keep things very simple so that we can learn about using Inkscape. So I'm going to just grab the node and try to make sort of an organic outward splashing kind of shape both directions here. Get a little bit, there we go. We'll pull him in. We'll kind of drag up this bottom. We'll do some additional tweaking here to get sort of that ripple effect along the bottom. But you got to start somewhere, so we'll start with two kind of outward splashing shapes and go from there. So now, once you sort of have a basic shape that you're working from, let's go ahead and try to make maybe this central one so we kind of have a direction to work from. So we're going to pull that up. I'm going to add another node, and you can add a node to any path just by double clicking it with this tool, and it's again really powerful. So we kind of get a central one up there so we can kind of determine our middle, and then we can kind of build organic shapes coming out. So we can put that one there, add another one, come up. And really working with nodes and curves like this is just it's really a matter of practice. You really just have to kind of work with them and practice with them and kind of eventually learn how to use them to get them to do what you want, because they're extremely powerful, but they can be very tricky to work with. They're not intuitive at all. So like there, you're grabbing one handle, but it's affecting the whole curve. So there we go. I kind of like him. It's all still kind of going outward. Again, we're just gonna drag paths all over the place until we kind of get the whoops. Oh, that's another thing. If you think you're grabbing a control handle, and see like how I kind of inverted that and it folded back in on itself. That's kind of a hazard of working with these nodes like this. Add another one. We'll kind of move him up and put one in here. Pull that back down. Again, Control Z, you can always undo with Control Z. It's your friend. So we've kind of got everything now looking like, whoops. Really got to make sure you're grabbing hold of those actual points. Let's kind of put another, there we go. Okay, so you've got everything kind of splashing outward. Put a point there. Oops. Again, again, it's very much a matter of practice and just using those tools and really getting used to how they look and kind of what they do. So there we go. We kind of have let's put another point in there. There we go. There we go. And that's a kind of a nice splash. So then we can grab it with our select tool. We can kind of scale it down. You can scale it, any direction. And that's, again, one of the nice things about Inkscape is you can adjust these things sort of infinitely. You could go in and, like say, maybe I don't really like that. There we go. That wasn't quite as rounded as maybe I wanted it. So that's a little better. And there you have your initial splash. And then if we want to create some of these water droplets that are coming off there, let's just go to a basic circle. And then again, we want to convert that object, because it's a circle object. We want to convert it to a path to where we get our control handles. And then really easily, then we can just drag that out. And then here's another tool which will actually make the select node a corner. So it will kill those handles, or it will break those handles and basically make a joint. And then if you create a path and you decide you don't like it, you could just select it. It'll be in red. And there you go. You just hit delete and it's gone. And then once you have that, you can just use your rotate tool and your scale tool. So remember, you can click to get different control handles with that selection tool. So we want to scale him down a little bit. We want to select until we get those corner controls. And there we go. That looks pretty similar to what we have in sort of the stroke, that outer kind of lighter stroke. And then we can just Control C, Control V, do that copy paste. We can scale. You just use that control handle to flip it. You can rotate it. Copy, paste. Maybe make him a little smaller. Copy, paste. Make him a little smaller. And then remember, we also showed you how you can flip something horizontal just by using the H key. There you go. So now we have kind of a nice kind of organic looking splash. I think we'll put one more down here. Then we can select the whole thing and then object group. And so then it will put all these objects in a single group. You can scale them up and down, do what you like to do. So we have kind of recreated a version of that splash effect. And you could go in and use the same thing to do like a water pouring out of a bucket, or you could easily recreate, you know, the puddle effect, any of those things. So in later lessons, I'll kind of get into how you do coloring and creating strokes and opacity changes so you can get that transparency, you know, so where you can see behind an object that you've created. But you can use that to create trees, you know, bush shapes. You can create, you know, anything that's sort of an organic rounded shape. You can use it to even trace like head shapes if you wanted to recreate a very specific like haircut. You could start from a circle object, make that object into a path, and then drag those handles in and really tightly recreate a shape, a body shape, anything. But practicing with making an organic splash like this is a good way to get familiar with the tool. And we'll do a lesson later on where maybe we do trace something specific. We'll find an object and maybe try to recreate that path by using that tool and doing almost a trace or replicating a path. But anyway, here's a way to create a splash. Check out VexStrips.com for other lessons, and check out openclipart.org and search VexStrips, and you can find and download this splash effect. Thanks for watching.